I have been dying to do this themed cake for the longest time. See if you can try and guess what the theme is. I used a tiny drop of Colour Mill Navy for the base, and I picked up these piping bags from the cake decorating company, which are actually biodegradable, so I feel less guilty about using tons of piping bags on my vintage cake. I slightly whitened the buttercream with the Ingenious Edibles whitener, and that's an absolute staple in my baking cupboard. I also picked up these Wilton nozzles to create the smaller details on this cake. Reverse shell borders are my absolute favourite, and you'll see them on nearly every cake that I do. Now, one thing I'll say about this cake, it's a real trust the process type of cake. I was a bit apprehensive when doing these lines all over my beautiful piping, but I knew I just had to trust the process. I then also drew some lines across the sides of the cake and then started to go in with the florals. I used a small leaf tip to put leaves all over the vines, and this is where I feel like you start to see it all come together. For the small piped roses, I used a smaller nozzle, and I used a tiny bit of Colour Mill Baby Pink for this really light pink colour. I decided to layer the florals in different shades of pink, and the great thing about Colour Mill, you can really build the colours into darker shades. So here you'll see me go in with a slightly darker pink using the same food colouring. I tried to be quite random with this and avoid being too uniform, just to give it that really fresh organic look, and then I added in slightly more pink to make an even darker shade just to fill in some of the gaps. The finishing touch with these gorgeous disco balls. These aren't edible, but they are just needed for this cake theme. Final touch is this new Colour Mill glitter, which is absolutely stunning. You guessed the theme, it is Mamma Mia. I am obsessed with this. Let me know what you think.